Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Smackdown March 26, 2021 review. Here today to discuss that episode. I do apologize, guys, for not uploading the Impact Wrestling episode that took place on March 20, I believe it's the 24th. And then also not uploading... March the 23rd. Excuse me. March 23rd and for Impact Wrestling, and then March 24th for the AEW Dynamite episode, which I will be uploading those two episodes sometime this weekend. More than likely, the AEW Dynamite episode I will be uploading here tonight after I have officially uploaded SmackDown. So you guys will be seeing both of these videos uploaded today. The other video for Impact Wrestling, unfortunately, will probably be on Sunday. I will be watching that episode on Impact Plus tonight, so I can catch up on everything that has occurred. And then I will be uploading the Ring of Honor anniversary show that took place on March 26th yesterday, probably Sunday night. Give you guys my insight on how the event went. I have not looked at any of the results. I prefer to keep it that way until I see the event itself. Hopefully it was good. If you guys know anything about it without giving any spoilers in the comments down below, let me know how good it was, if you guys did see it or not. And I'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys on that pay-per-view. But I will be doing that at least by tomorrow night, and then upload that video the same night I finish the pay-per-view itself. Worst case scenario, if I'm unable to go ahead and do that pay-per-view Sunday night, I will definitely upload it on Monday night, the latest. So keep an eye out for that. Now, getting into SmackDown's episode, I heard some of the people going, oh, bitch, crazy about what happened. And the fact that the Universal Championship is now being defended in a triple threat match, and people are getting all pissed off and bent out of shape over it. I'm going to go on a rant here, and not on WWE. This is a fucking surprising one, folks. I'm actually getting mad at the fans. The fans are pissed off that a fucking 47-year-old man is not getting a one-on-one match against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. There's people even saying that the Royal Rumble means nothing now that they added Daniel Bryan to this, making it a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Folks, I gotta tell you, the Royal Rumble don't mean shit anymore. It has no meaning because what WWE has done to it. Number one. Number two, Edge shouldn't have won the Royal Rumble. I won't deny one thing, and I was the first one to admit it. He was going to win the Royal Rumble. I stated that when he had his... I think he was on the go-home show of Monday Night Raw announcing he's putting himself in the Royal Rumble match. Why would he do that at the fucking go-home show? Will I admit that he was great in the promo? Was he excellent? Was he very serious? Was he believable? Absolutely. Did he have a right to win the Royal Rumble? Maybe so. I mean, he has a good story to tell. But did he absolutely have to win the Royal Rumble? No, he did not. It wasn't necessary. Daniel Bryan should have won the Royal Rumble, and he has been passed up multiple times going into WrestleMania, and I don't understand why. Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble this year would have been the perfect opportunity because Roman Reigns was the prick, the lead guy in WWE right now, and is the Universal Champion. This match should have been a singles match, but it shouldn't have been Edge. Edge should be going up against Drew McIntyre. The character that Edge is becoming should have been done with Drew McIntyre. It would have brought out so much more in Drew McIntyre and made his character more important and made that title that he was carrying on his shoulder more important. And believe it or not, it would have been okay, in my opinion, to give the title to Edge if that's what you chose to do so. So it would have left that unpredictability factor in that match, which I've already stated 100 fucking times. That's the reason why I wanted Edge versus Drew McIntyre, because it's unpredictable, and either one can take the loss. It's a win-win situation, either way you look at it. Edge gets that go-home feeling great goodness thing going on where he succeeds and wins that WWE Championship that he's been wanting to get since he had to vacate it back 11 years ago. And Drew McIntyre gets to fight with a great legend like Edge in a good match that will last a lot longer than a match he had with Brock Lesnar last year. But instead, we get Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't have any problem with Bobby Lashley being champion. I think the way they put him in the situation kind of sucks. I think he's a very good replacement of Brock Lesnar in that kind of sense, of that big guy, muscular, strong, badass mentality, and he's been booked very well. But my problem with this is there's only one way you can go with this now. Drew McIntyre has lost his title twice in his run between WrestleMania of last year to now. I don't want to see Drew McIntyre win. They've already made me believe he's a weak champion. He's not a champion that needs to be champion anymore. It's time for a change for Drew McIntyre. Maybe a change over to Smackdown while Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion. That's a possibility. You could go with Drew McIntyre jumping over to SmackDown and being placed on there, build him up with some really good wins, and then have Drew McIntyre win at SummerSlam or something like that and win the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns. They keep harping that it's one of the best matches they can think of out of all the opponents that they could put together for modern day WWE programs. So why not do it? He's the only real legit guy that you can get to that point, but he'd have to go through a lot of wins, and he'd have to get shoved over to SmackDown real quick, so they'd have to do a quick, a draft, a minor draft, where they get like 3 or 4 guys, move from Raw to SmackDown and SmackDown to Raw, and do that, and then you build Drew McIntyre up with a lot of wins, beating a lot of good, suitable opponents, and then you have Drew McIntyre beat Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. That gives him several months to rack up some good wins and be a believable number 1 contender. Makes a lot of solid sense to me. They could always do that. That's my attitude. But bottom line, I do not see the point of Bobby Lashley losing the title to Drew McIntyre at this point. Now, again, like I said, nobody should beat Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship. Roman Reigns should be walking out as still the Universal Champion. If Daniel Bryan wins, okay, I'm alright with that. I don't want to see him beating fucking... No fucking way in hell. I do not want to see Daniel Bryan beating Roman Reigns. Yeah, it looked like Chris Benoit making Triple H tap out at WrestleMania 20, because that's really what this looks like to me. A complete copy off of what happened in WrestleMania 20 in its main event for the World Heavyweight title between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit. That's what this looks like to me. This looks like Edge being Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan trying to get that one more time big moment and capture the world title type of situation. Roman Reigns is Triple H of modern day WWE. That's what I see here. So Hey, you all want to sit here and bitch and moan and complain? Oh, I want Roman Reigns and Edge. What the fuck would you want to see Roman Reigns and Edge for? It's a very predictable match. At least with this, you could possibly see Daniel Bryan win. But Edge, he wins, like I've said 100 times, and I'll say it one more time. It happens, I ain't fucking tuning in for WWE shit no more. There ain't no reason for Edge to win it by beating Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns, because both of those guys are there every fucking week. He is not. Yes, he's been showing up because he's in a program, unlike what Brock Lesnar does. Brock Lesnar, when he was there, he hardly ever showed up, except for when he was building up for that pay-per-view match he was supposed to be in that would last 5 fucking minutes. After Goldberg in 2016 Survivor Series, this guy had never had a fucking match that went past 10 minutes. So, let's get real with ourselves. Bottom line, Roman Reigns is the guy. He needs to stay champion, and at SummerSlam, they need to build someone up credible enough to beat him for the World Heavyweight title. If they don't, Roman Reigns needs to stay champion. Bottom line. Period. It's as that simple as you can get. That's all I gotta say on that subject. This show, by the way, after I've done about 10 plus minutes of ranting on what people are saying on social media about this whole situation with the triple threat match, this episode wasn't bad. This was a decent, enjoyable show that I had fun watching. And what's even better is being able to skip all the commercials. That's the best part. Since I watched it a day later. Anyway, so we get Daniel Bryan coming out, cuts a very good promo, and he makes a lot of solid points. He made Roman Reigns tap out. Daniel Bryan did. Referee wasn't up, no, but he got him to tap out. Now, what I'm afraid of, and I'm really scared of this, is they go with Daniel Bryan making Roman Reigns tap out this time at WrestleMania with the referee being able to see that he taps out, so he wins the Universal Championship. This is not going to get me to go ahead and quit watching the WWE, but it's still disappointing. I don't think that Daniel Bryan should even make Roman Reigns tap out. If he's going to beat anybody, Edge should be the one that takes the fall. It's that fucking simple. Nothing else more to be said on that. But yeah, he cuts a very good promo. He makes a lot of valid points. He states the truth. He got screwed. He had an opportunity of making Roman Reigns tap out. The referee was out. Daniel Bryan also was in the works of getting this win. Yes, he accidentally hit Edge with a chair. It wasn't done intentionally, and Edge took it the wrong way and fucked him, and Roman Reigns pinned him and got the 1-2-3. That simple. He talked to Adam Pearce. He said, look, real plain and simple, I'm not leaving this ring until I get a rematch tonight, or we make this right. He states that you could do this. You could have one guy face Roman Reigns for the championship, have Edge face Roman Reigns for the championship, since that was the original scheduled match for WrestleMania, and then the same night have them defend it against me. Plain and simple. Pierce says, look, you can't do that. That's not very fair. You compete one night and then have another competition in the same night? That's not fair. He goes, well, okay, you want to say that, but then you want to do this double standard bullshit and say, oh, okay, I compete in a 40-minute match, an elimination chamber where I'm getting thrown around, beaten up, and getting whacked around by chains on the side wall of the chamber, but it's okay for Roman Reigns to come down immediately after the match is over and defends his title and beats me in less than 5 minutes because I'm so burnt out from the match I had before. Makes a lot of sense. So he goes ahead and he offers another idea. He says, why don't we do this? How about we go ahead and make the match where one night, on night one, The Universal Champion defends it against Edge, and the winner of that match faces me in night 2. Made sense there. He says, nope, we're not doing that either. We should only have it one night, one match, that's it. Plain and simple. You unfortunately lost, and that's all there is to it. And Daniel Bryan kept pleading with him, and he says, I'm going to have to make some considerations here, and we'll move forward from there. So fine, that's what they did. It was a very nice little thing they did. Then Edge comes down to the ring, though, and he's pissed. And I like this. This is the one thing about this story I'm enjoying. This is the Edge we should have seen with Drew McIntyre, and we could have gotten that with him being one pissed off son of a bitch and, trying to bring out the Drew McIntyre that we should be seeing instead of him being a little fucking pussy. But we didn't get that with that, so we got this. And I'm okay with it. I really am. I'm okay with Edge being a heel. It's about fucking time because the face gimmick is not working in this situation. It really isn't. And it's very funny. Batista had the same situation happen to him in 2014, and Daniel Bryan won the world title then. So this ought to be funny if Daniel Bryan wins again at WrestleMania. And they're just installing Edge into the situation and just having Daniel Bryan beat Edge for the championship at the end of the day to not have Roman Reigns eat the loss. I think that's kind of funny. So Edge talks about earning his title shot at the Royal Rumble. He goes on and says Bryan doesn't deserve the shot, calling him a son of a bitch. Bryan suddenly attacks Edge and works him over, but Edge ends up delivering a big spear and laying Bryan out in the middle of the ring. Edge picks up the chair and stalks Bryan, and Edge delivers a big chair shot over the back to keep Daniel Bryan down. Edge tosses the chair and stares down at Bryan before exiting the ring, and Edge looks on from the ramp as his music hits. Bryan is still down, trying to recover, and we go to commercial. And that's pretty much that on that portion of the match, or the promo that they had. The next match, which I don't understand why this match took place, because we already saw it at Fastlane a couple of days ago, on March 21st, so why the fuck is this match taking place? I had no idea, but it's Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, a more shortened, condensed match that took place here, and same result. Seth Rollins won. Curb stomp, and that was it. This led to a backstage promo with Seth Rollins, but there was a little action that took place after the match was over. Rollins stands tall as his music hits. We go to commercial to replays, and Rollins attacks Nakamura while he's down. Rollins nails gets ready for a curb stomp, but the music hits, and out comes Cesaro. He rushes to the ring, and they start brawling. Cesaro with a gun wrench slam, and then Cesaro unloads with strikes and catches Rollins with a big uppercut in midair. Cesaro goes for the Cesaro swing now, but Rollins manages to escape and retreats to the ramp. Rollins talks trash from the ramp while Cesaro yells at him to return to the ring. While we're backstage, we have Adam Pearce. He has walked into the locker room of Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman is also there ranting. Reigns stands up and gets in Pearce's face, and Jey Uso stands behind Pearce. Reigns says Pearce is here because he wants him to understand that he gets Reigns just for one night at WrestleMania. One title defense. That is it. And then he says, now you can thank me to Adam Pearce. Pearce says he's almost inclined to agree with Reigns, but there are other things to consider. Pearce says he will have a decision by the end of the night, and he walks out of the room at that point. So that's that. We also get a confirmation that Big E and Apollo Crews will compete at WrestleMania on night 2 for the Intercontinental Championship. Very happy about that. I'm glad they got the main portion of WrestleMania, because Night 2 to me is the main show. Night 1 is more like kind of a preview of what WrestleMania is going to be like for Night 2, I guess you could say. But Night 1 is not all that special, to be quite frank with you. It's a decent card for like a B-level pay-per-view. Night 2 is far more of a WrestleMania than Night 1. There's a few matches that are on Night 1 that are outstanding, and I'm glad they're being placed on this card, but in the other sense, it really is not all that big of a deal. So we have Big E and Street Profits go up against Apollo Crews and Alpha Academy, which is fucking Otis and Chad Gable. Nothing really important happened here except for Apollo Crews picking up a victory over Big E, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing in this situation. But it kind of gives you a little bit of hope that we might see Apollo Crews win the Intercontinental Championship, which I think is needed. I think we need to see a rivalry contested here. Not just some one, have a couple of series of matches and then poof, off we go on to the next challenger. No, that's not how this needs to be. We need to see one of those Rock Triple H's type of rivalries built up. Or Steve Austin and Bret Hart. Yes, Bret Hart beat Steve Austin twice in 2 of their encounters. I do believe they did have a third one, but it wasn't on a major pay-per-view. It was on an In-Your-House pay-per-view, which Steve Austin won. But let's get real, folks. We need to see a real rivalry. We haven't seen one in such a long fucking time. The only thing that even comes remotely to a decent rivalry that we could all get excited about would be Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. And right now, Drew McIntyre is not at the level he needs to be at to make that rivalry important. So that wouldn't even count at this point in time until they build him back up to where he needs to be. So that is really the situation on that. So back from the break, after the match was over, we had Seth Rollins seething backstage. Carla Braxton approaches for comments, and Rollins rants about Cesaro. He says he's tired of being disrespected. Rollins challenges Cesaro at WrestleMania 37. Hallelujah. I can't wait for this match, and I hope Rollins loses this match. Rollins does not need a win over Cesaro. Cesaro needs to win and get his name etched into this roster as an important deal to WWE's roster as a whole. So this matchup here is very crucial for Cesaro's career. If we don't see Cesaro being pushed in this matchup and we don't see him win against Seth Rollins, then folks, we might as well give up on any thought of Cesaro being pushed in any kind of importance on this show. Bottom line. That's the main deal here. But after he cuts his promo, he requests a match with Cesaro at WrestleMania 37. Cesaro comes in and suddenly appears and drops Rollins, and then he delivers Cesaro swings as officials yell at him to stop. Cesaro drops Rollins and accepts the challenge, and then we get right back to the matchup, by the way, and like I already said, Apollo Crews pins fucking Big E in the 6-man tag team match. We see how Sami Zayn attacked Kevin Owens last week. We see Owens walking backstage now. We also see Sami walking with film crew. And then we go to a commercial break. The next segment on this show was the Kevin Owens show. The KO show. In which case, I do apologize. Back from the break, Edge stops Adam Pearson asking if Daniel Bryan is going to get what he wants. He asks what kind of ship Pierce is running here. Edge goes on, and Pierce says he has a job to gather all the facts and weigh all the options before making a final decision on this. And that is what he will do before the end of the night. He's doing this for WWE and not for anyone else. Edge says he hopes Pierce makes the right decision or else, which we see what happens later on in the show when he makes that final decision. So the KO show starts after that segment, and we get pretty much a request by Kevin Owens for him to go one-on-one with Sami Zayn at WrestleMania because of what happened over last week's episode with the haluva kick to the back of the skull and pretty much knocking Kevin Owens unconscious. My thoughts on this whole setup is it sucks. I'm happy to see these two guys get an opportunity to perform one-on-one at WrestleMania, which they never had that opportunity to do. That's the one good thing out of this whole situation. But the way the story was built was rushed. There was nothing really put together here. It just was based off of some stupid conspiracy theories by Sami Zayn that he's being... there's conspiracy and everyone's against him in the company, which again, I still say Shane McMahon versus Sami Zayn would have been the better match. It would have made more sense. It would have made Sami Zayn actually be placed into a face situation and get him out of this horrible. I think he is fucking terrible as the heel. They make him look so fucking ridiculous. He looks retarded. I just don't like him as a heel. He looks better as a face. I've always liked him as a face. Get rid of the long fucking hair too. Get back to the way he was in 2016 and get him on the right track. He was on the right track. That heel change, it just doesn't work for me. His run with Kevin Owens in 2017, 2018, it was alright. I liked it as them as a tag team, but him alone as a heel, it just doesn't work. It's like watching The Miz, only Sami Zayn's a better wrestler than The Miz. And he cuts these pathetic promos that are not genuine. They don't come across real. It's shit. It really is. I don't like Sami Zayn as a heel. I like him as a face. He reminds me as a face as Daniel Bryan, and he performs in the ring like Daniel Bryan. Not the movesets and everything else, but the way he tells a story in the matches that he does. He's the underdog. The underdog doesn't need to be a heel. The underdog needs to fight and scratch his way to a win. And that's what he could deliver in a match. Him being a heel, he's just a pathetic heel that has to cheat all the time to win. He's not a guy that's gonna be rough and tough and kick your fucking ass and make you hate his guts. He's just a goofball idiot. That's all he comes across to me as. So I don't like the heel Sami Zayn. I think it blows. Kevin Owens works great either way, as a face or heel. I like him either way. But as a face, at this point in time, if he's built up good enough, you could always put him back in that hunt for the Universal title with Roman Reigns. But with the amount of opportunities he's had, it just makes it seem less important. It doesn't seem all that memorable. And it just seems like it's overkill. So even putting him back in that Universal title opportunity would be really a dumb move. And it wouldn't make it all that important like it was earlier this year when they started doing it. If they would have left it alone after TLC, had Kevin Owens win the Royal Rumble and face him at WrestleMania and make him work his ass off to get that title, it would have made it all that sweeter for us, the fans, to see him actually capture that championship and hold it up at the end of WrestleMania. That I would have been okay with. But this situation, having him run back for the title after he's lost 3 different times, no, it wouldn't work. It's not all that important to do. It's not going to draw anyone's attention towards it. So that's just my attitude on that. But yeah, Sami Zayn accepted the challenge by Kevin Owens for WrestleMania, and then Kevin Owens decided to kick his ass after he accepted, because that's what he wanted to do from the get-go anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. Bianca Belair, she cuts a promo about Sasha Banks. She says, hey, she thinks I'm a fucking a rookie, quote unquote, but yet she seems to be jealous of me because I've got something going for me. I got a lot of momentum going into this match, and you'd think I would have attacked her after she slapped my fucking head off. But the bottom line is, I don't need to do that. I was always taught to be the bigger person in the situation, and at the end of the day, I want to be 100% going into WrestleMania so I can beat her for that fucking title. I loved it. I thought it was a very, very nice lines for her to say for this build-up for this match. Do I see it as a WrestleMania main event from night one? No, I do not. It would have been if they would have kept them the fuck away from the tag team titles and stopped making them like they're good old buddies when they're supposed to be challenging each other for that Smackdown Women's Championship. I'd have liked it a lot better if they were tearing each other's fucking heads off like we're getting here for the last few weeks left over to build up towards WrestleMania. Come on, man. Get the fuck out of here. And Sasha Banks being a heel now, and then they may take the title off of her and give it to Bianca Belair? Fucking dumb idea. If they do that, they're doing a terrible, terrible thing to Sasha Banks here. She's got an opportunity to build herself up as this heel, which she should have stayed as a heel, but her being tied up with Bayley really made a lot of sense to put her back to a face and then switch her back to heel when this came about. So, the bottom line is, you've changed her back to a heel. Keep her as champion. Don't take the title off of her now. Save it for later when Bianca Belair builds up even more wins later on down the road, and Sasha Banks gets some more opponents for her title to defend it against to make her all that more important as a heel. It's the same way as Roman Reigns. The more challengers Roman Reigns faces, eventually the person you think is deemed quality enough to take the title off of Roman Reigns will make that moment more special for the next person that gets that title from him. It's as simple as that. That's what they need to do here with Sasha Banks with the Women's Championship. So, yeah. Natalya and Bianca Belair went at it one-on-one, and Bianca Belair won the match. Sasha Banks was there by ringside while she was doing commentary, and may I say she sounded very good on the mic. Could have been a fucking announcer, to be quite frank with you. She had a lot of personality, and this heel character she's portraying is better than most of her other characters and personas she's portrayed in the past. I really like this heel character. Better than when she was with Bayley, to be quite frank with you. She seems a little like her old self in NXT when she was playing a prick. That's how I see it. And she's not over the top. She's being more genuine, more realistic here and not overacting it. She just seems more natural. And I like the way they're doing this. Bianca Belair slapped her right in the fucking face. Slapped Sasha Banks in the face. She almost got distracted. I thought she was going to lose this match, but she pulled out a victory anyway and walked away the winner of this matchup. It was a decent match. I mean, it wasn't all that important. I didn't really care for it. And if you thought she was going to lose, you're fucking crazy. But after the match, Belair stands tall and celebrates as the music hits. And Banks runs in and delivers a backstabber from behind. And Banks stands over Belair as her music starts up. And that's pretty much that. The next portion of this show was a segment backstage with Edge and Roman Reigns. Edge walks into Roman Reigns' locker room, and Roman Reigns says, "Hey, you got a lot of balls coming in here. I almost respect it." So he stands up and he listens to what Edge has to say. He says, "Okay, Roman, you say you got a lot of stroke around here. You're the champ. You just think about this for a moment. I could go ahead and win that title from you without actually beating you. All I got to do is pin Daniel Bryan, and you're no longer champion. Is that really how you want to lose your title? If you're going to lose it, why not lose it to your opponent, which is me? And he said, you got the stroke around here. I highly recommend at this point in time, you ought to utilize it in this moment, because Edge knew for a fact they were probably going to make this a triple threat match, more than likely. And that's what they did at the end of the show anyway. And if anyone didn't think that was going to happen, you're fucking retarded. But yes, that is what they went with here. So it seemed like Edge and Roman Reigns had some kind of alliance going on here for just a small portion of the show. And honestly, this whole storyline, though, is making Edge look like a weak-ass motherfucker. Really, he looks like a weak motherfucker who shouldn't even really care that this is a triple threat match. He should be saying, hey, Daniel Bryan, you want a shot? I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care if I beat you for the title. I don't care if it's Roman Reigns I beat for the title. That title's coming to me. And I don't give a shit. I've worked my ass off. So, yeah, you can make this a triple threat. It doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I'm walking out WrestleMania the new Universal Champion. That plain and simple. Don't get me wrong, I like the Edge heel gimmick where he's acting all berserko, crazy, pulling at his hair, you know, hitting people with chair shots and everything else, but in the same breath, he had this face-like run going into WrestleMania where he's going to capture his dream, make history of being a champion that had relinquished his title, never to be pinned or submitted for the title in that one run in that one reign he was the champion, and then make a 10-year comeback in order to win the World Heavyweight title one more time at 47. Don't get me wrong, that type of story is historical. It's been done in real life in boxing. Look at George Foreman. George Foreman was a former heavyweight champion in boxing back in the 70s. He lost the title. He stayed away from boxing for several years. Longer than 10 years, I think. I think like almost 15 years, to be exact. Came back in his 40s. And this is boxing we're talking about, people, not fucking professional wrestling. And the man came back and won the world heavyweight title from someone who was carrying a world title in boxing and was a world heavyweight champion. One of the top titles. I think it was a WBA or a WBC championship. And those are the two biggest titles you can get outside of like WBO or IBF. So, bottom line, this is a good story that they're telling, but at the same time, you're making him turn into a fucking prick. Who the fuck wants to see him win then? Even if it was Drew McIntyre. I mean, with Drew McIntyre, it's a little different because he could have turned into a heel because he's pushing him to be more of a fucking douchebag. Or someone that has some balls and he's sick and tired of being up against some fucking loser who shouldn't even be champion, and he just finally flips and he goes crazy. That I understand. But Daniel Bryan is like in the same situation as Edge. Daniel Bryan's an older guy. He's got a family he's got to attend to. He's had major injuries he had to come back from, and he doesn't know when his last match is going to be either. So he wants to take up the opportunity to become the world champion one last time. They both are telling the same story, and yet Edge is becoming jealous of this situation. So it really is stupid. I don't see Edge should even walk out as world champion based off of that situation right there. They're making Edge look like a fucking dipshit. But don't get me wrong, like I said before, I love the heelish Edge look that we should have been getting a long time ago. So, whatever. But you get my drift. So let's see here. What else did we have going? Oh, and the last match was Dolph Ziggler and Rey Mysterio. It seems like Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode will be defending the tag team titles for Smackdown against Rey Mysterio and Dominic, which, don't get me wrong, I think is kind of a cool match, but Didn't they already fuck that up last week where Rey Mysterio wins one match and then the next, in that same night, they were challenged immediately after winning and lost to another tag team, which was Chad Gable and Otis? Where the fuck does that make any sense, folks? That really didn't make any fucking sense to me whatsoever. Completely, utterly retarded. Fucking dumb. Yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. I see this as completely fucking stupid. But yeah, Rey Mysterio beat Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler powerbombed Rey Mysterio to the outside behind the barricade by where the fans' images were. And I swear to you folks, I hope to God, which I'm pretty sure there was, some padding where he landed on the outside of the barricade. Or behind the barricade, because I'll tell you what, that looked like fucking painful as shit. The only way you get me to do a spot like that is if you were paying me a pretty damn good chunk of change. Because I sure as hell wouldn't have done that for free. That did not look like fun. And he looked like he severely hurt him. I mean, he looked like he lost his breath for a few minutes. And he just was laying there, just chilling out, trying to gain some composure after a fucking spot like that. That was fucking sick. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler had an amazing powerbomb delivered to Rey Mysterio on the outs to the behind the barricade, which was fucking outrageously bad. Not in a bad way, but like in a very fucked up, crazy way. But yeah, Rey Mysterio wins the match against Dolph Ziggler. I don't know if that means he's granted the opportunity with his son for the Smackdown tag team titles, nor do I care. And another thing that was mentioned during this match, which I think is absolutely fucking retarded. I couldn't believe what I heard when they said this. Michael Cole and Corey Graves, and may come across to some of you guys to be a fucking moron to say this, but I think Corey Graves and Michael Cole have developed into a very good one-on-one commentary team, a duo team. I think they're very good together. I think they've done some good commentary during these matches. They don't seem so terrible like Raw. Raw's fucking commentary is god-awful. I could live without that fucking commentary team every fucking week. One of the reasons why I'm so glad I'm not watching Raw on a weekly basis anymore, and I stopped doing that. They are fucking terrible. Samoa Joe does not belong in a fucking commentary booth. He doesn't need to be doing that fucking shit. He needs to be back in the ring and kicking some ass, win a fucking world title, and be something. I mean, if you want to go with anyone to win the fucking world heavyweight title from Roman Reigns, maybe Samoa Joe's the right guy to go with. Hey, you never know. You won't know until you try, I guess. But bottom line, Samoa Joe doesn't belong on commentary. He belongs in the ring kicking some ass. That's what he's good at doing. Commentary, I could live without him. I don't really particularly care for him to be on commentary. It's not something I really care for. It's the same thing like CM Punk in WWE at one point. He was doing commentary. I think it was in 2010 when he was still recovering from injury. I didn't particularly care for him on announcing or anything. I wanted to see him in the ring and do what he does best, and that's be the best in the world at what he does. And that's what he always did when he wrestled. But the last segment was the decision Adam Pearce had to make, which is obviously the triple threat match. Now, the situation was Adam Pearce thought that everything that was stated by all three men made a lot of sense. He says the only solution to the problem is just put them all three in a match for the Universal title. Ed Snap beat the shit out of everyone, beat the shit out of fucking officials with a chair. He almost did a concerto to both Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, but Roman Reigns rolled out of the ring. Daniel Bryan somewhat got away from the concerto, but not so much. He still ate plenty of chair shots. He did not execute the concerto on Daniel Bryan. After the several chair shots he delivered on Daniel Bryan, he decided to take a seat, and he sat there completely pissed off with the camera panned on his face, looking like he's in complete and utter rage. Again, love the evil, psychopathic Edge, but where the fuck was it from the get-go? Where was it when he was the Royal Rumble winner and all he wanted to do was be pissed off and take that fucking title and say, nobody is going to take this from me and I'm going to win that fucking championship? Where was it? Wasn't there till Daniel Bryan came in the picture. Why? Who cares? I just do not get the point with this company. They made Edge look like a complete and utter douchebag in this whole situation. I really don't understand why they would do that. But hey, that's WWE for you in a nutshell. This character that Edge should have been done with Drew McIntyre. It would have made more sense. And if you wanted to give the damn title to Drew McIntyre, to Edge at the end of the day, you could have done that, and I would have been okay with it. I would have actually been fine with it. Or you have Drew McIntyre win. Either way, it would have been a win-win situation for WWE creatively, in my opinion. I don't think it would have been that big of a deal if you went with either or. You could always put the title right back on Drew McIntyre after the match, later on down the road, like a month from then. The next pay-per-view even, if you wanted to do that. But to do this, what you're doing now, it's just utterly ridiculous to switch his character in the middle of a run trying to capture the Universal Championship. He shouldn't have any care in the world. His attitude should be, I'm still winning that fucking title. He should be calm as a fucking mouse. Shouldn't give a shit what Daniel Bryan or any of them do. Because at the end of the day, his attitude is, I'm walking out champ. Now he's all paranoid and worried. Oh, if we have an extra person to this situation, he ain't gonna win. Get the fuck out of here. It's so stupid. Anyway, guys, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. As always, I will get right back to you on that. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good night, guys. Until the next upload that I do. Bye.